Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? It's Jeff. Hope you're having a decent day wherever you are. It's been pretty nice here. We've had a little bit of cloud cover that looked like it might rain, but then it didn't rain. Now the clouds are breaking up and it's, the sun's poking its head out. So it hasn't been very hot here today. And I hear it's supposed to be cooler here tomorrow. So those 3 days that we were supposed to get extreme heat weren't really that extreme. It was hot, but it wasn't like that one day we got here a couple of weeks back that was really like up in the 90s, almost 100 degrees. Wasn't anything like that, but still it was nice that we had some nice weather here overall. And it's just I was driving home from Texas Roadhouse and passed a huge protest on Stillwater along the way, across the street from Chili's. Fucking sidewalk was full of people. It must have been at least 150 to 200 people there, all holding signs and shouting and no kings. No felons, no, you know what I'm saying? They were protesting Trump, obviously. It was really a nice sight to see that people are taking the initiative, even in an area like Maine, where there isn't a whole lot going on around here. There's still people that are aware of what's happening in the country and don't like it. And who can blame it, people? I mean, I don't like it, what's happening in this country, and I know many of you out there that watch this don't like it either. We shouldn't have to subject ourselves to any more of this garbage, okay? Don't you think we deserve better than this, okay? We've suffered enough over the generations in this country. We work hard so we can better ourselves and our families, and we turn around and we have things like this happen. It's not good. It's not good. And so this first video that I'm going to show you is an example of something that we really ought to be putting our foot down on here in this country as a whole, because we don't need any more of this shit. All right, so let's go to that. It's Ben Meiselas, and let's take a look at that.
There were hugs for the man in the brown hat and jacket, and tears from a family member recording the release. Narciso Barranco is an immigrant and father of 3 U.S. Marines. He was held in ICE custody for nearly a month. Hello everybody, David Schuster here. In June in Santa Ana, California, Narciso Barranco was working his job as a landscaper. He was trimming the grass in front of an IHOP restaurant when he was approached by masked men wearing vests. Barranco tried to run and was tackled and thrown to the ground. Video, first broadcast by CNN, showed the ICE and Border Patrol agents punching Barranco.
¿Y por qué le pegas?
Within hours, the recording of this incident went viral on social media, and soon the story was picked up by the broadcast networks and channels, including CBS News.
This violent arrest was captured on camera. You can see agents restraining a 48-year-old man, repeatedly punching him, blood visible on his shirt as he screamed. We've since learned that man is the father of 3 Marines, 2 active Marines, and 1 Marine Corps veteran.
Amidst the public outrage, the Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security pushed back. DHS claimed that Barranco had tried to attack ICE agents with a weed whacker. But Barranco and eyewitnesses denied that. And video didn't show him on the attack. Instead, it captured him trying to run away from a pepper-spraying ICE agent while Barranco was carrying the weed whacker. Subsequent video showed agents not only punching Barranco on the ground,
¿Y por qué le pegas?
but then after lifting him on his feet, they used force again. One agent took a metal rod and slammed it against Barranco's neck while pushing him in the vehicle.
No one, whether you're in a facility detained or on a street corner, should be treated violently. That is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. That can be a violation of the First Amendment, depending on whether someone's peacefully protesting or doing anything else.
And that anything else can include criticizing a law enforcement officer or even telling the government agent to go f themselves. The courts have long held it as protected speech. Legal experts, though, point to something even more stark and disturbing in the ICE violation of constitutional rights.
We see a man on the ground, and as his son points out, 5'6", 5'7" tall, 150 pounds, and we see multiple agents, many of them quite large, and he quite clearly looks unable to create any harm to those officers.
And that's important because under settled case law, the courts have ruled repeatedly that officers can only use physical force if somebody is threatening to harm themselves, bystanders, or the law enforcement officers. In this case, even if some agents had been told that Mr. Barranco had waved his weed whacker at an agent, once Mr. Barranco was on the ground and separated from the tool, he posed no threat. And for officers to then punch him repeatedly, well, that is clearly against the law.
We have a Constitution of the United States of America, and the Constitution is quite clear and quite plain, and the interpretation of our Constitution has been quite clear and quite plain. People have the right to process that is due. That means the ability to see a judge and to be determined whether or not there's action that can be taken against them.
But it's not up to law enforcement officers or ICE agents to take action themselves and mete out punishment. It's up to a judge and a jury to decide if somebody has broken the law and what should happen as a result. In this case, however, the ICE agents violently took matters into their own hands.
It's impossible to look at this video and not be deeply disturbed and demand an investigation of the conduct of these officers.
Legal experts say that in addition to a criminal investigation, the ICE agents are also vulnerable to civil penalties and fines. Based on the video and eyewitness accounts, experts say Mr. Barranco would have a strong civil lawsuit against ICE. For now, his family says they are focused on Mr. Barranco's physical and mental healing. They say he was denied care and detention for a dislocated shoulder, and that the entire experience, including the arrest and confinement, left him traumatized.
We want to get him that right medical attention, those exams, make sure he's all good, make sure he wasn't injured like badly, any internal stuff. Yeah.
And what has he said to you about his health?
He says he's in pain. He's still in pain. He has headaches. His shoulder still hurts. His back started hurting. So yeah.
That young man served in the U.S. Marines. Two of his brothers served in the Marines as well. Can you imagine what's been going through their minds? This is a family that represents the best in America. Young people who volunteered to serve a cause greater than themselves by serving their country in the military. And their dad, the man who raised these American patriots, was harassed, assaulted, and thrown in a detention facility because he committed the crime of landscaping while Latino. This is one of the most disgusting ICE arrests we've seen to date, and there have been many. It's not clear if Mr. Barranco will bring a lawsuit. He first has to deal with his citizenship status in a hearing coming up next month. But one can only hope that Mr. Barranco and his family, with the help of neighbors, friends, and concerned citizens, will hire the best civil rights lawyer available and sue ICE into oblivion. There may be nothing that will stop the reckless, violent behavior of the Trump administration ICE agents, but it's important to send a message that in this nation, The Constitution still applies, due process still matters, and violent ICE thugs who unlawfully rough up anybody will be held accountable. Justice must be served. By the way, the lies of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem are now getting exposed. Democrats are slamming her over migrant deportation rates and over FEMA's mishandling of the Texas floods.
You got regional offices that are 20-30% empty because they were forced to leave. Those are the people that call the state directors. Those are the people who know the county administrators. If you look at what happened in Texas, evacuations are done at the local level in coordination with the state. And so she has no idea what she's doing.
New York Times is reporting that thousands of calls from flood victims to FEMA call centers went unanswered in the middle of this ongoing disaster because you didn't renew contracts to keep call center staff in place until nearly 1 week after the floods. Why did it take so long to extend those contracts?
It's just false. Those contracts were in place. Nobody,
it didn't take 5 days?
No employees were off of work. Every one of them was answering calls. So false reporting, fake news, and it's discouraging.
I think this administration, when the president says, he doesn't know, that's right. I think they actually don't know how bad Kristi Noem has made FEMA.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular from JCX, who wrote, "All Noem cares about is what's in it for her." I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about ICE agents exposing themselves to potential lawsuit for assaulting the father of U.S. Marines. I'm David Schuster. Thanks for joining us.
Well, look, I don't know what's going to happen with this lawsuit against, if there's going to be a lawsuit against ICE. But I would strongly encourage people to push that, to make that happen. Because if we don't take advantage of the opportunity here to make it loud and clear that we don't approve of these methods, then they will just push the envelope a little bit further next time around, okay? And to say that, these guys were sitting here trying to make excuses because the fellow was holding a weed whacker and he was waving it at them, and that justifies them trampling the guy to the ground and beating on him for what, 5-10 minutes or something like that, and then knocking him into the back seat of the car. These guys, look, when you're in the position of having guns, batons, spray, tasers, or whatever that is, you are expected to hold a line of professionalism, okay? The rest of us, we're not armed. We're caught off guard. We are caught with our pants down. And we are, it's like 1 against 9, okay? What do you think people are going to do in that situation? They're going to be defensive. They're going to try to scare you off, okay? That should have been clear to these agents when they showed up there after this guy. That, hey, look, if we all come out of these goddamn vans, like, we're at Normandy, okay, this guy's he's gonna either run or he's gonna fight, okay? Flee or fight. That's his 2 choices. And these people should have, look, even a cop, when he pulls over somebody or she pulls over somebody speeding or something like that, okay, or whatever, they don't come up to the car with guns out, drawn right off the bat, okay, unless someone's life was put in danger. They don't do it like that, okay? They start with the calm and civil approach, at least they're supposed to, okay? And in most cases they do. Well, with ICE, it shouldn't be any different. But as you could see in the video, it didn't look like any of these agents really seemed to know what they were doing. They were just kind of standing around, patting their bellies and, watching 2 guys beat up on this guy, and they're just, standing there. It's like, hello, is anybody in charge here? Because it didn't seem like anybody was. Who's the boss in this fucking ring? And that shows a a complete lack of professionalism and a very strong indication of lack of training or simply no training at all. And that's why I'm saying, you know, if these people have authority in ICE or whatever, they must have got their badges at a fucking raffle, because these fucking people don't come off, or you know, to me, as being trained and professional. They aren't. Okay. I know I've said it before, but I think, I'm hoping that most of you out there, when I say this, you're starting to see it, because you would not see cops behaving this way unless these cops were fucking out of their goddamn minds, and they would be arrested for how they treated that fellow that was beat up here in that video. If it were cops doing that, okay, they'd be suspended, or, you know, they'd have to be prosecuted. But these ICE people here, it's like, no, we don't have to worry about that. Our backs are covered, and we can beat these people as long as we want, for whatever reason we have or can come up with, okay? Doesn't matter. Trump gave us a green light to do as we please. Well, people, that isn't how you deal with a problem or a perceived problem of immigration. What you're doing is you're actually taking that problem and you're multiplying it tenfold, because now you're putting other people in the mix who are trying to defend those folks who are being taken out of this country. And that's exactly the opposite of what these people should want to have happen, which means if they followed a procedure where things were done in a more civilized fashion, this would not become a problem for them. They would be able to take out, you know, whatever immigrants they deem as criminals or whatnot, if they were not being backed up by military and tanks and whatever the hell else they got, and marching down the fucking streets in your neighborhood like terrorists. This does not create a very productive atmosphere of cooperation with the general public. And in the end of the day, that's what you want, isn't it? That's what ICE would want, is like, hey, if we can get the community on our side, it'll make our lives so much better. But if you're of the mind that we don't give a fuck what the public says and we're just going to do what the hell we want, you are going to be into a big fucking mess before long. And I'm telling you right now, the longer this shit goes on in California or wherever the hell else they may be today, the longer this stuff goes on, the more agitated, the more angry the population is going to get. And before you know it, people are not going to hold back anymore. Okay? They will come at you with everything they got. And believe me, weed whackers is not what I'm talking about. We have a very well-armed society here, in case they forgot. You know, and a bulletproof vest is not going to protect you from every bullet that's fired at you. One of them is going to hit you either in the head or in the leg or something, and you're going down one way or the other. So if I was these people, I would seriously reevaluate how they do their jobs, okay? And maybe get somebody who knows how to do actual police work and have these folks train these other idiots on how to properly do things like this, okay? I mean, even a SWAT team has more professionalism about when they do their job than ICE does. ICE, as far as I'm concerned, is more like a militia than anything else. I don't even understand why we have that, or this outfit in the first. Do we really need ICE? You know? You know, if we wanted to find illegals, I mean, isn't that the job of the FBI? To find these people? I mean, why parcel that job out to a bunch of lowbrows, okay, who are really, you know, no better than just your average militia out there jumping and crawling around out in the woods on a given day, okay? They're not really that great at what they're doing. And the fact that they cover their faces suggests they don't really believe in what they're doing is right, and they're afraid of repercussions. So even these people who are unprofessional understand the risks they're taking by being the way they are, but they ain't got any problems with it, you know. I think when people go after these agents, one of the things they ought to do is yank that fucking mask down, you know, because you know people are recording and that's the last thing they want, is to be seen, you know. That's what I'm thinking, you know. Jeez. But yeah, it's really sad. And I wish there would be some kind of control over this shit, other than just, you know, go and do what you got to do, you know. Okay, there's this little breaking news thing here coming out from Daily Dose of Democracy. And a former executive at Trump's Atlantic City casino claimed that the president once brought Jeffrey Epstein and a 19-year-old girl to the gaming floor. Jack O'Donnell, who was president of the Atlantic City Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino for 4 years from 1987, told CNN that President, quote-unquote, frequently visited the New Jersey resort with Epstein to attend, special events. Okay, quote, in my mind, Epstein was his best friend, you know, from really the time I was there for 4 years, unquote, O'Donnell, a frequent Trump critic, told the network on Wednesday. The revelation comes as an uproar over the Trump administration's handling of the Epstein files refuses to die down. Anger from MAGA over the recent Department of Justice memo declaring the case closed has not subsided, while Trump has reportedly raged that his supporters won't shut the fuck up about the saga. You know something? This ought to be a really powerful image here for you folks here who haven't detached yourself from Trump yet. Think about this for a minute. He's willing to lose his base and sink this country just to keep those Epstein files hidden. Why? If he's willing to do that, that must mean something is nasty there that he doesn't want getting out. Something really bad. The more he does this shit, the more he protests and gets mad and gets angry about this Epstein stuff, the more telling it becomes for the rest of us watching him explode that something big is in those files and he doesn't want it to get out. Okay? Seriously. He's willing to lose all his base. You know, he screams at him and yells at him to shut the fuck up, okay? And then he turns around and he's willing to destroy the country, to distract. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, talk about a guilty conscience. I mean, I know that's probably a lot of people are going to laugh when I said that, but, you know, people who are afraid of getting caught for something that they did, I mean, there is a certain level of guilt involved in that. Otherwise they wouldn't care if this Epstein file or whatever got leaked out. But he knows what's in that, or at least he's afraid that something is in there that he did that he doesn't want, or take the risk that it's in there. But he's scared. And you know, it shows. Let me continue this article here. During one visit to the Atlantic City resort in the late 80s, O'Donnell claimed inspectors of the State Casino Commission, which regulates gambling and ensures casino complies with the law, were waiting for him in his office after the president and disgraced financier had turned up to the venue with a group of 3 women. Quote, Donald and Jeffrey had come into the building, into the casino in the wee hours of Sunday morning, 1 or 1:30 in the morning, O'Donnell told CNN's Aaron Burnett. Quote, you know, 2 buddies. They had 3 women with them, and the commission was waiting for me because they had determined that the women that they brought down were underage to be in that casino, unquote. The former casino boss said that he asked the inspectors how they knew the young women's age. Quote, one of them was the number 3 ranked tennis player in the world, unquote, O'Donnell explained. Quote, and this guy happened to be a tennis fan. And he said, Jack, I know she's 19 years old, unquote. He added, quote, to get on a helicopter with a friend and 3 other people and fly down to Atlantic City, I mean, you can connect those dots. They were pretty good buddies, unquote. What the hell is that? Okay. It is illegal for anyone under 21 to gamble on the casino floor in New Jersey, a law enforced with strict penalties. O'Donnell said the commission gave Trump, quote, a break, unquote, on this occasion, but claimed the commission made him ring the president to reprimand him. Quote, they made me call him and I had to, believe it or not, read him the riot act about this action because they gave him a break, unquote, O'Donnell said. Quote, I had to call them and say, they're giving you a break this time, but if this happens again, the fine is going to be substantial and it's going to be on your head, unquote. O'Donnell added that he told Trump that turning up with Epstein and the young women was, quote, not going to look good, unquote. Quote, I did tell him in that conversation, I don't think you should be hanging out with this guy, just so you know, and you certainly shouldn't be doing that in Atlantic City, unquote. O'Donnell said he told Trump at the end of the phone call. The president has attempted to distance himself from the disgraced financier who died by suicide in a New York jail in August of 2019. The two were photographed and filmed together on several occasions, and in 2002, Trump described Epstein as a quote-unquote terrific guy, whom he had known for 15 years in an interview with New York Magazine. He added, quote, it is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side, unquote. This fucking guy, Trump, I'll tell you, he's his one worst enemy. Yeah, so that's the article. But like I said, it really shows just how desperate he is to try and get out from under this thing. Okay, he's willing to destroy his support base out there, MAGA, and he's willing to ruin the country in order to distract everybody from talking further about it. You know, if there's people out there that are still on the fence about this guy, about Trump, you really need to, you know, check yourself, because it's clear to everyone with common sense that Trump's neck deep in this sex scandal crap that Epstein was into. Okay, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's what was going on. Okay, it seems like a lot of people with money these days get themselves involved in some kind of criminal activity because they feel, I have the money, I can do what I want, and the law doesn't have to touch me because I can buy that. You know, Trump has set the example about that, and everybody else is following along. Okay, and so Trump, being the kind of creep that he is, and the nasty things that he said for the last 20 years on television, at rallies, you know, interviews, debates, okay, it's not that hard of a fucking reach to think that, yeah, he was having sex with underage girls. All right, so much so that when he looks at his own daughter, he objectifies her, because, and you know, when you do something enough, it becomes normal to you. You know what I'm saying? So he's done this so goddamn much in his life, you know, going out with underage girls, having sex with them and stuff, that now when he looks at his daughter, you know, it's actually automatic. It's like, oh yeah, boy, she's hot, look at her. You know, he's looking at her like it's like a pimp looking at, you know, you know, everybody, you know, because he's Donald Trump, they try to giggle and laugh it off like, oh, he's joking. No, he ain't joking. He reveals himself and what he thinks is funny. Okay, and the fact that nobody will say, you know, that's disgusting, tell him that enough times, he keeps doing it. But he never hears that from anybody. He goes around and he says these nasty things, and nobody says, you know what, that's pretty piggish of you to say something like that, you're stupid, you know, and chastise him. Nobody's got the balls to do it. Again, why should we be afraid of that fat orange cow? Okay, he's got one foot on a banana peel and the other one is in a grave. I'm going to talk to you about that here after these commercials here. So let's go to the commercial break.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
I thought I'd just get head spins, not nicotine poisoning.
Oh my god. His vape taped. I wanted to be social. I didn't want the addiction that took over.
I thought it was just a bit of fun, but not being able to breathe because of lung damage is definitely not fun.
It's proven that vapes cause real harm. Every vape is a hit to your health. For more proof, search vaping harms.
Girl, but I am a few person of your love. So I believe in you and you said you have love. It's infinite.
Hey guys, what's up? Have you heard about the blue salt trick for men? This interesting method has been gaining some attention, and if you're looking to boost your performance, energy, and blood flow, this could be the natural solution you've been searching for. So, what exactly is the blue salt trick? It involves using mineral-rich blue salt to improve circulation and support overall vitality. Many people claim it helps with increasing endurance, and even boosting performance in the bedroom. Sounds intriguing, right? But here's the catch. Not everyone has access to high-quality blue salt, and even if you do, your body needs more than just minerals to perform at its peak. That's where Nitric Boost Ultra steps, which employs the same method of blue salt trick for men. Nitric Boost Ultra offers a scientifically backed, proven way to naturally supercharge your blood flow. It helps you feel stronger, last longer, and perform at your best with its powerful blend of nitric oxide boosters. One of the key ingredients in Nitric Boost Ultra is L-arginine, an amino acid that helps widen your blood vessels, delivering more oxygen and nutrients to your muscles. This translates to better endurance, faster recovery, and improved performance. It also includes L-citrulline, which works in tandem with L-arginine to maximize blood flow and stamina. But that's not all. Nitric Boost Ultra also contains essential vitamins and natural plant extracts to help your body maintain peak performance without any harmful chemicals or stimulants. No side effects, no jitters, just pure natural energy and strength. If you're thinking about trying the blue salt trick, go ahead. But if you're after a reliable, effective, and scientifically backed way to elevate your performance, Nitric Boost Ultra is your go-to solution. The best part? It's super easy to use. Take 1 scoop of the powder with a glass of water every day, or mix it in a smoothie or tea if you want. Within weeks, you'll feel more energized, stronger, and more confident in every aspect of your life. Ready to unlock your full potential? Don't wait. Try Nitric Boost Ultra today. Grab it directly from the official website to ensure you're getting the real deal. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried the blue salt trick? Or are you excited to give Nitric Boost Ultra a try? Drop a comment below and let's talk. That's all for today, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on more tips to keep you at your best. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Watch it. All right. Okay. We'll come back. Now, I left the last segment here about Trump being like one step away from being in the grave here. Well, today, this news broke, and I'm reading this from CNN's website here. Entitled, written by Betsy Klein, Trump diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency following leg swelling. President Trump was examined for swelling in his legs and has been diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, the White House announced today. Trump, who was 79 years old, underwent a, quote, comprehensive examination including diagnostic vascular studies, unquote. With the White House Medical Unit, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, reading a note from the president's physician, Captain Sean Barbabella, I guess that's how you say it. Barbabella's letter, which was later released by the White House, states that, quote, bilateral lower extremity venous Doppler ultrasounds were performed and revealed chronic venous insufficiency, a benign and common condition, particularly in individuals over the age of 70, unquote. The examination came after Trump had, quote, noted mild swelling in his lower legs, unquote, over recent weeks. Quote, importantly, there was no evidence of deep vein thrombosis, DVT, or arterial disease, unquote. And Trump's lab testing was all, quote, within normal limits, unquote. According to the letter, Trump also underwent an echocardiogram, quote, no signs of heart failure, renal impairment, or systemic illness were identified, unquote, Barbilla wrote. Chronic venous insufficiency is a condition in which valves inside certain veins don't work the way they should, which can allow blood to pool or collect in the veins. About 150,000 people are diagnosed with it each year, and the risk goes up with age. Symptoms can include swelling in the lower legs or ankles, aching or cramping in the legs, varicose veins, pain, or skin changes. Treatment may involve medication or, in later stages, medical procedures. Quote, it's basically not alarming information and it's not surprising, unquote, Dr. Jeremy Faust, an assistant professor of emergency medicine at Harvard Medical School, told CNN. Quote, this is a pretty normal part of aging, and especially for someone in the overweight to obese category, which is where the president has always been. But the bigger concern is that symptoms like this do need to be evaluated for more serious conditions, and that is what happened, unquote. Chronic venous insufficiency can be related to conditions like increased pressure from the heart or sleep apnea. Cardiologist Dr. Bernard Ashby told CNN, quote, even though he's diagnosed with a benign condition, venous insufficiency, by itself it doesn't necessarily mean it's benign. The question is, what's causing the insufficiency? And so I would want to know whether or not he has any evidence of, again, increased pressure in the heart or increased pressure in the lungs, which can be contributed to that, and if so, what is the primary cause? Unquote. Trump's doctors were covering all their bases, unquote, by screening him for heart failure, increased pressure, and other conditions, he said. Age, obesity, and inactivity can all lead to this condition. Quote, if a person is older, a person is overweight, a person is not engaging in regular physical activities or exercise, if a person is sitting or standing for prolonged amounts of time, you can get chronic venous insufficiency, unquote, Dr. Chris Purnell told CNN. Leavitt later added that the president was experiencing, quote unquote, no discomfort. The press secretary also addressed bruising that has appeared on the back of the president's hand, which she attributed to his, quote, frequent handshaking, unquote, plus his use of aspirin. Quote, this is consistent with minor soft tissue irritation from frequent handshaking and the use of aspirin, which is taken as part of a standard cardiovascular prevention regime, unquote, Barbarilla's letter says. The letter concludes that, quote, President Trump remains in excellent health otherwise, unquote. Trump will become the nation's oldest president during his second term. Well, you know, when a guy like him eats at McDonald's all the fucking time, it's gonna add up. The problems in his body are gonna add up, and that's why he's always been overweight, okay, and why, you know, he's got this insufficiency with his blood flow, okay. It's making his heart work harder in order for the blood to go from the legs, to make the cycle in the body. Okay, and it's because, I would say, and I'm just guessing, I ain't no fucking doctor here, okay, but I'm just saying, high cholesterol could be clogging up his veins. He should be on a better diet. I don't know what the hell they're feeding him, but if he's got this problem, it's not something to fool around with, because his heart is one of those things that, at his age could just quit like that, not that anyone's going to really shed too many tears over it, but I'm just saying, there's a reason why he's got this. People knew for years that this guy eats like a pig, all right? And it catches up to you, it fucking catches up to you, eating them greasy French fries and them, hamburgers and all that fat, every day. Christ. You think he would have put two and two together and realized, if I keep this up, I'm gonna Joe Biden's gonna outlast me, because that's kind of how it looks right now. But we have this issue with him and his cognitive abilities, And I would say that that would probably affect that to some degree, because if you're not getting blood flow adequately to the brain, you know, I would say, yeah, that's going to affect, you know, certain aspects of how you remember things, or, you know, how you behave, because you're depriving your brain of oxygen when the blood flow isn't really going there. And as far as him and sex is concerned, I would say no. He could die on the bed or something, you know, with him and his, you know, his issues here with young girls. So I think I would tell him, stay the hell away from young kids, because, you know, if you're going to get all aroused over that and everything, that could kill you. Fucking idiot. But yeah, that's come out today, and that's why I was saying in the last segment why, you know, this is a guy that's got one foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel. Why should anybody give a damn now at this point, you know, whether this guy does anything or not? Because, you know, he may be dead tomorrow for all we know. I mean, you know, these, you know, when you're talking about heart problems, look, my father died from a heart attack. He was told 3 years before he died, the doctor told him he had 3 years left if he didn't get an operation on the valve in the back of his heart. He didn't want to have it done. Scared? I don't know. Maybe he didn't give a shit. My father was always one of those people that just hated life, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he was looking forward to just checking out. At any rate, when doctors see patient after patient after patient after patient with similar issues, they get good at predicting when things might happen, when things could go catastrophic. Okay? It's not their first time at the rodeo, especially these older doctors. So when they told my father down in, I think it was in Boston, I guess, he went to a veterans hospital in Boston, and they told him, look, we have to operate to clear that valve because it's not working. And, you know, whatever they said to him probably, you know, he'd probably just like, fuck, you know, the hell with that, you know, because they'd had to open his chest up and take the heart out. And I imagine when they explained it to him, he probably was like, hell no. I could hear him now. But yeah, 3 years and he died. He went to go, he was trying to get donuts out of the fucking kitchen, and he dropped dead in the fucking, in the kitchen floor. Even when the doctors told him what his heart condition was, he never quit smoking, he wouldn't stop eating junk food, and he died. And he was 64. He was only 64. And, you know, it didn't have to be that way. And so, with Trump and his heart, you know, because this, obviously this is connected to his heart. You know, and how much truth are they going to tell the people about that medical report? I don't know. I mean, if they felt it was okay to reveal this insufficiency thing, maybe it's the thing, maybe the situation is worse than that. But they aren't, you know, but Trump won't let that rest of it come out. You know, he's a good person here for holding back the truth. So, like I said, and when you got Caroline Leavitt there telling people what's in there, you know you can't trust anything she says either. So the problem, obviously, is a heart problem, okay? And, you know, and it's probably from poor diet, not doing enough. But, I mean, just because he plays golf, that's not doing enough, okay? I'm sorry, but you got to be playing golf every day, okay, in order to feel like you're having some activity. He does that, what, once in a while, you know, once every month. What's he doing in between those periods? Nothing, you know. That's what it seems like anyway. He doesn't do anything. So a lifetime of just sitting around, you know, getting involved in crimes and shit like that, that's all he's good for, because he doesn't know what to do with himself. He's got too much free time on his hands. And even now, as president of the United States, he's not really at the controls of the government. He's got everybody else pretty much doing a job for him, while he's just sitting around doing nothing, because he can't really do anything, you know. He just, all he does is reacts to everything that comes out, okay? But he doesn't, you know, he's not a guy that's going to get out on the floor and argue a case or do anything like that. You know, like I said, it's a different kind of life that a lot of us, you know, are not fortunate enough to be able to have. Okay, and he's got people around him to basically shoulder a lot of the stress that he should be shouldering, and he's not. The only thing he's worried about right now, believe it or not, is that fucking Epstein crap. Okay, and anything else that you see on the news that might be, you know, more important is simply distraction to get people to shut up about the Epstein case. Okay, and so I think with that on his brain and the physical condition that he's in, at some point something's gonna pop. Okay, think about it for a minute. You think a guy that's under tremendous pressure here to come clean about his past is going to be able to sleep well at night? They just said it can cause sleep apnea. I guarantee you he probably has a hard time sleeping. All right, I can promise you he probably does. You know, people that are overweight who don't have, you know, this venous insufficiency can have sleep apnea because they're overweight. Although the weight of their body pressing down on their can make it hard to breathe. So yeah, I can imagine Trump probably doesn't sleep too well, and he's got even less reason to sleep well with all this stuff hounding him everywhere. So and a friend of mine shot me out this this headline here. It says, there are reports that tensions surrounding the release of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein are indeed complicating the approval of the $9 billion spending cuts bill in the House. Specifically, House Republicans are facing a Friday deadline to pass a rescissions package that would cut funding for foreign aid and public broadcasting. However, frustration among some Republicans regarding the administration's handling of the Epstein files is creating a roadblock. The Senate approved the package early Thursday morning, but due to changes made there, the House must now vote on it again. If the House doesn't approve the bill by Friday, the administration will be required to release the funds it had intended to cut. The controversy centers on the fact that some Republicans believe the administration has not been transparent enough about the information it has regarding the Epstein case. This has led to negotiations within the House Republican Conference about how to address the Epstein issue alongside the spending cuts. House Republicans are reportedly trying to craft a resolution on the Epstein matter to address these concerns and move forward with the cuts. So yeah, now that we got money here involved, $9 billion, maybe that was incentive enough for the Republicans to, you know, say, you know, hey, you know, this is, we got to do something. You know, it's holding up the works. You know, and it's, the people are only going to look at this as another way out. But it's not going to shut anybody up. As bad as Trump wants people to stop talking about this, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. I told you why in 2 videos why that's never going to happen. Okay? And the thing is that Trump doesn't seem to understand. Okay? And that's only because he's a man who never really understood people. He doesn't understand this country. Okay? He doesn't understand how some people, I'm not going to say all of the people, but how some people put character, you know, above, you know, money in order to pick people and put them into positions that we can trust them in. And Trump does not have the character requirements that's needed to be a president. He never had them. He didn't have it the first time he was president, and he certainly doesn't have it now. And I think, you know, for a lot of Republicans, you know, it's too much. Too much, how can I say it? Too many question marks popping up. More information comes out. Trump keeps running away from it. It's not good. It looks bad. It looks terrible. It makes MAGA feel like, you know, like they're this big because they are the ones who gambled it all on this fucking guy, okay? And they lost. They lost big. And this here would be like the icing on the cake for the loss that they created here. Not just for themselves, but for the country at large, okay? It's just, this is the icing on the cake, because not only did he lie and backstab everybody, on top of that, he's a convicted felon, okay? We already knew that. But he could be a possible pedophile. A very good possibility that he's a pedophile, you know? And if that doesn't stick in their craw, I don't know what the hell ever would, or whatever will, because it's not a good thing to have. It taints the whole office of the presidency to leave a guy like that in office who was involved in sex trafficking and, you know, having sex with underage girls. I mean, I don't know how the rest of you all feel about it. I mean, I know a lot of you don't have much respect for the presidency, the office of the presidency, but well, when I think about this on a global scale, when the rest of the world looks at us and they say, that country's so fucked up, they'd put a fucking sex offender in the White House. And yet, they'll prosecute him at the same time, but they'll put him in the White House. You know, those people are off the fucking rails. They got no ethics, no morality. They claim to be a Christian nation, yet they can't prove it. They can't prove it. Their own actions disprove it. So, you know, it's very hypocritical of us. And we are revealing, for the first time to the rest of the world, I think we're revealing what kind of a nation we have become, because we have been led by the nose down this dirty path, okay? And too many of us fell for it. The rest of us wasn't enough momentum to pull us away from it. Everybody dove headlong into the shallow end of the pool, and they come up all bloody because they get, you know. So I just feel like this is one of those issues here that, or you know, one of many issues that's you know, betraying MAGA. And at some point, you know, MAGA is, well, maybe they're coming to that point, but I think Trump is really what's doing it now for them. I mean, he's really pissing them off. Okay, he's really pissing them off. And at the end of the day, I think MAGA's realizing that MAGA didn't own anybody. What happened was Trump owned them, and now he's done with them. He doesn't need them anymore. And it's up to MAGA to remind him that if it wasn't for us, your fat ass wouldn't be in the White House. So if you don't need us, we don't need you, and goodbye. Okay? And I think that's what MAGA is going to have to do. If they ever want to save face, bring any legitimacy back to their movement or cult, they're going to have to cut the ties that connect them to Trump once and for all. Okay? If they want to have what they're aiming to have in this country, they're going to have to find somebody else to do it. He was the worst pick they could have grabbed. Okay? They doomed their own fucking enterprise by picking Trump to lead them to what they thought they were going to get. Okay? And even though, you know, it's I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for MAGA here at this point, but seeing them squirm like this now, watching them, it gives you kind of a bittersweet kind of feeling, because you're like, you know, this didn't have to happen. But it in a way it did, because these people would never have recognized the problem until it bit them in the ass. Okay? And with Trump, he had to bite them in the ass for them to realize they elected a problem in the White House that wasn't going to help them in any shape, way, or form. So, you know. Anyway, that's it for today. So I hope everybody has a great, well, tomorrow's Friday, so I hope you have a great upcoming weekend. So subscribe, comment, and share. And keep your ears open for health-related issues. And be kind to your neighbors. Help them out when you can. It helps in the end, because it can be there for you. So I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.